Professor of Political Marketing, Kojo Mensah, says Vice President Dr. Bawumia's position on LGBTQ rights in Ghana is contradictory to that of his boss, President Akufo-Addo. The Vice President, in an address to Muslims during the Eid celebration in Kumasi on Thursday, declared that homosexual practices will not be allowed in Ghana if he is elected as president. By reacting to
the Holy Quran is replete with verses frowning on LGBTQ acts, including same-sex marriages. My faith is therefore very strictly against the practice of homosexuality. Allahu Akbar. No ifs or buts, no shades of grey. All the major religious traditions in Ghana, Christianity and Islam, are opposed to this practice. And I stand opposed to it now, and I will stand opposed to it as president, inshallah.
The Vice President, however, reiterated his and the government's commitment for inclusivity in diversity for the nation.
For us in Ghana, our diversity is more telling in our ethnic backgrounds and religious beliefs, and we have remarkably held firmly together as one people over the years in spite of the threat and bigotry of some overzealous individuals and groups.
But reacting to this comment, Professor Kojo Mensah said the stance of the NPP flag bearer does not align with that of the president, although it must be emphasized that President Akufo-Addo has not publicly expressed a view on the issue yet. Professor Mensah also argues that the declaration by the vice president is late in coming.
Knew, beforehand that certainly this is not something that Dr. Bawumia would support LGBTQ, and so he would firmly support the bill, and that was expectation. But expectation itself would not take the issue away. They would want an explicit, proclamation from the vice president. But he lost the opportunity. Time is currency, and in communication, once the moment is right, that is when you have to make the statement. He lost that position. He made people create a lot of assumptions, and he complicated his issue by the president coming out to say that I would not actually assent to this particular bill. Then he was in a bad state because voicing it out would become contradictory to his government position, because the president embodies the government position. The president, to a very large extent, embodies the party's position. Now your president comes and says, I would not assent to this. He hasn't said that he supports LGBTQ. He hasn't said that, he actually wants LGBTQ. And of course, by extension, you can say that once the vice president, who is a Muslim, is likely to abhor it, is likely to not to support the LGBT. Christians also don't support LGBTQ. But the president, having said that he will not assent to it, somehow put it in the position that perhaps he supports it. And that makes Dr. Bawumia's position much more difficult.
But in a sharp rebuttal, Communications Director for Dr. Bawumia's campaign, Dennis Miracles Abuaji, described the analysis by Professor Kojo Mensah as politically tainted, insisting there was no timeline or the vice president to make his position on the matter.
Who gave the timeline? Who's second? Who gave the timeline? Who set the timeline? If we had a timeline set from the beginning, then we could have that conversation. I mean, Professor Mensah, anybody listening knows it's not coming from an objective perspective. But who gave the timeline? Between the time...
Who is not coming from an objective perspective?
Professor Mensah.
Why?
There's no doubt about that.
Why?
Let's not go into that, but there's no doubt about that. But
but I have to be fair to him.
No, I'm telling you.
He's on the other end. I can't just let you say that and move. Why do you say that?
No, his position, especially when it comes to issues of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and the MPP, it's there, public. It's there. Go to his tweet. It's public. There's no doubt about that. He himself is not denying that. So, that's a fact that is not coming from an objective perspective when there are issues that have to do with the MPP.
Now, presiding Bishop of the Methodist Church Ghana, Most Reverend Dr. Paul Bafo, in the latest development, the clerk to Parliament has responded to the presidency's letter asking him to cease and desist from any attempt to send copies of the controversial Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill to the president.
Ghanaians are now aware of what is good for us. And so, if we are talking about the values and what identifies us and what makes us unique as a people, and you want to destroy it, Ghanaians will not be happy with it. Especially Christians, we will not be happy with it because the sanctity of family is at stake, and we need to guard it. There are other factors that will also come into play. The economy, our finances, our social, and all employment, youth, education, health, and all that. We are not saying that it is just LGBTQ that is going to stand. There are other factors, but LGBTQ and how the party comes out very clear on it will also guide in people making their choice.